Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Tom's Takes. I want to talk about the American dream. Um, I've been hearing for the last several years that the American dream is no longer attainable, that that we do not have the same opportunities that the previous generations have. I don't know if that's necessarily true, in my opinion. I looked up on ChatGPT what exactly is the American dream. The American dream is what I kind of thought it was. It's not necessarily a destination. It's not necessarily the house, the two kids, the dog. It's the concept of America where you have an opportunity through hard work, opportunity, freedom, and determination, and some luck that you could have a better life for you and your kids. So, in that aspect, I do not see that the American dream is dead. I've been thinking a lot about the American dream last year when I came back from my mom and I. We did a road trip to Fort Worth, Texas. The reason we went to Fort Worth, Texas is I'm from a suburb outside of Chicago, and I've been living in the suburbs outside of Chicago for the last 51 years. But the reason we went back to Fort Worth, Texas was when my parents moved to the United States in 1973. They originally moved to Fort Worth, Texas, and they lived there for like a year and a half. And my mom always wanted to go back, and so last year, my mom and I, we took a trip down to Fort Worth, Texas. We stayed there for a couple days. She was trying to find her old apartment, but in the last 50 years, Fort Worth, Texas, she said changed. She was trying to find this one grocery store called Skaggs, and she said, "Hey, listen, if I find that grocery store, then I can." I can find the apartment from there, and then I can find the other landmarks. We drove up and down Lancaster, and we could not see it. And I tried getting the address for Skaggs, and I could not find it. I actually found it like 6 months after we went to Fort Worth, Texas, and I looked on ChatGPT, and it's no longer a grocery store. It's actually a church. So that's the reason why she couldn't find it. But on the way back, we went from Fort Worth, Texas, and then we stopped at a hotel about 100 miles outside of St. Louis, and we stayed there for the night. And I was kind of thinking back that the last time we made this trip was back in '73. I was probably like 3, my brother was like 5, and it was my mom and dad, and they were in this Volkswagen, and it was 50 years ago that we made the trip from Fort Worth, Texas to Chicago. And I kind of I thought about the American dream, and back 50 years ago, I'm sure my mom and my dad were very optimistic. They were probably a little afraid, but they're kind of optimistic of having an opportunity for a better life. They actually did not have a bad life in Korea, but my dad wanted to move to America. His brother, my uncle, was here, and he really, really sold it, that it was a great place. And it is a great place. It's probably still the best place in the world. And I thought about it, and it kind of made me sad. The last time we made the trip from Fort Worth, Texas to Chicago, my dad was still alive, my brother was still alive, and now it's just me and my mother, and we're both much older. A lot of time has passed, and I thought to myself, the American dream is it's a journey. It's not a destination. Eventually, you move the time frame even further. It's the people who originally had the dream will no longer be around. I know that's kind of sad, but I want to reiterate the point that the American dream is not a destination. It's just the decisions you make every day and the opportunities you get. It kind of reminded me of a Bob Marley song. I thought was insightful. It had a lyric in there: "Don't fear atomic energy, because atomic energy can't stop the time." So that basically what I drew from that is, don't focus on the existential threats. Eventually, whether it's the bomb or whether it's the passage of time, it eventually ends. So get on living. And there's a couple of quotes. I'm not going to quote it verbatim, but Michael Scott from The Office, he wanted to live the American dream. He had 2 jobs, but he got fired from one of the jobs. He got fired from his job as telemarketing, and he wanted to make enough money to have his own place and have his girlfriend not work and live with him. And the end of the episode was really, really inspirational. He said, "Hey, listen, I tried to make the American dream work. I wanted the apartment, I wanted the girlfriend, but unfortunately it didn't work out. But the great thing about the American dream is you could go to sleep and tomorrow you could start all over again." So that is kind of the concept of America, which I really, really like. I myself, I am very much pursuing the American dream. I have not had the success I was looking for, but that hasn't necessarily stopped me from trying. At first, when I was younger, I wanted to go up the corporate ladder, but at the same time, I did not achieve any of the success on the corporate side, and I thought I got, not to go into it, it doesn't matter, I don't really even care, but I thought I got passed over for a promotion by people who were less qualified due to office politics, and that kind of changed my mindset. I'm like, I'm putting a lot of my future in the hands of people that I don't necessarily trust. So it opened my eyes that maybe I need to keep working because I need to pay bills, but at the same time maybe look for some opportunities. I started going to these classes with about real estate and investment, and I started investing in stocks, and at first it was like very, very, very slow, and then it kind of jumped up, but I made some risky investments and it tanked back down. So that you think would discourage me, but I if nothing else, I still believe in the American dream. And then I got into comedy. I wasn't getting a lot of success in getting booked on shows, so I took it upon myself to book my own shows. And the first couple shows I booked, I started making a little money. I made like $110 my first show, then I made like $100 on the second one. But the last 3 shows I wound up losing money, so I probably won't be doing that as much. And I'm not as enamored with doing live comedy. But right now, my American dream, believe it or not, is actually making these videos, and because I kind of look at it as I'm kind of pursuing what I want to do, and hopefully I could find a way to kind of monetize it. Whether I do or not is I can't determine the outcome. I can only determine what I put into it. But I kind of view myself as still pursuing the American dream. I still believe that there is opportunity out there, and that you just have to go out and try to seize it. I think where people don't believe the American dream still exists is because of, I think some of it's fear-mongering, but some of it is very valid. It's prices. The prices have gotten too high. I really think the crux of our problem is we just print way, 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 way too much money. It started, I think, back in the financial crisis, back in the housing crisis, back like close to like 20 years ago, and where they just had to print a lot of money because they were actually, instead of inflation, they were fighting deflation. And then we had we just had reckless spending. And then I don't want to get into the political aspect of it, but right now we have so much money just sloshing around that it's driving up the prices of assets. Some of it's good and some of it's not necessarily good. It depends on what side of it you are on. Back when the prices of the houses, they kind of went down, I myself suffered because I owned a condo, and then like a year later the banks collapsed and my condo the value of it went down like 40%, but that's fine. I didn't necessarily buy it for an investment. It would be nice if I held off for a year and I could have bought it much cheaper, but on the good end, I had one of those mortgages that got people in trouble. It was like adjustable, but since the Fed cut the interest rate, my mortgage payment went down by like $400. So, and it stayed low for the entire time until I actually sold it. So it wasn't necessarily bad. I wasn't capturing the appreciation, but what I was paying into it was it became much more affordable with a much lower interest rate. And but on the other aspect of it, inflation kind of helps me as well, just because most of my wealth right now is in stocks. I have a 401k, and I've got a small retail, I've got a small E-Trade account, which is not doing well, but my 401k is doing well. So the fact that money is going into it and it's appreciating, that definitely helps me. So inflation, deflation, it's people want lower prices, but I do not see lower prices coming. I think the best you can hope for is that it could stabilize. Well, no, let me take that back. I think there is opportunity for lower prices. McDonald's, I was seeing all these TikTok videos where people were posting that, hey, I spent $18 on a McDonald's meal. It's no longer affordable. And McDonald's did cut its prices, and I think it helped the traffic. So I think there is opportunity for some deflation for a business that can afford it. But some of these businesses like Walmart, I think they're operating on like 2-3% margins. So, and they're already offering about a lower prices you're expected to get. So, all right, I'm kind of off on a tangent. I was talking about the American dream. All I can say is the American dream is out there. Affordability might be an issue, but I saw a video where Ben Shapiro got a lot of flack. He said that, hey, listen, if you're in New York City or you're in Los Angeles, and the prices of the real estate have been expensive almost my entire life. He's like, well, why don't you move to like Des Moines and you'll find cheaper houses. You got a lot of pushback. I can understand some of the pushback he got, because they're like, so you're asking people to move away from their friends and their family, their upbringing, to live in someplace affordable. But I kind of understand the reason behind that. There's going to be a huge disparity in what you pay for a one-bedroom apartment in Manhattan as opposed to a one-bedroom apartment you pay in Madison, Wisconsin. It's just the demand is much more concentrated in New York, so there's so much demand and not as much supply. I took an economics. I had a minor in economics in college, and they told me that economics is pretty much, if you ever get stuck on an economics question, if you answer supply and demand, you should get partial credit, because it's basically all supply and demand. The demand in New York real estate is very high and the supply is very limited, so the prices naturally go up. But if you go into an area with less congestion, like Des Moines or Madison, the prices are going to be more reasonable. So I kind of understand like the logic of it. I don't see any way how the prices of real estate will go down in very desirable neighborhoods like the big cities, unless you have something catastrophic like people like Detroit, where people are just moving out of there. Then that if you have an economic collapse, then you can probably get places on the cheap. But if you're going into a very desirable, very vibrant neighborhood, you need to expect to pay more for it. But if you move out to the suburbs, a little bit further out, you can find reasonable places. I still believe. And going back to the American dream, my mom, I don't exactly know what her specific dreams were, but I know some of it. Very much, me and my brother were her American dream. She wanted very much, I mean, she was a mother that worked a job, but as soon as work was over, she came and she made dinner, and she was very much wanted us to live a good life as much as possible. We lived in an apartment growing up, which was fine. The apartment was in a good neighborhood, and I had friends that had backyards, and so I could enjoy the backyard but not have to mow the grass. And eventually she bought a house in a nice neighborhood, and so she's enjoying it. She talks about how she's at the kitchen table and she could drink her coffee and just like watch people watch, and she really enjoys having her house. So in many ways she attained her American dream. She gave me and my brother a happy childhood, and she wound up getting her own house. So in her way, it was very hard getting here, but she got her American dreams. So the opportunity is out there, and don't get discouraged. There's opportunities. Just keep. If you fail at one thing, reinvent yourself, find something else, and then eventually or uneventually, you might catch a break. But if not, just don't get discouraged. Other than that, please like, comment, share, and enjoy your Friday. I am enjoying a 3-day weekend myself, so take care, guys.